Hello, so today we're going to talk about how to structure a good cold email structure for your business or cold email infrastructure for your business to be able to send at scale or efficiently cold emails without affecting your domain name. So for those that don't know me, I'm Hugo Hamel. I am a business optimization consultant. So what I do, I help businesses structure their business correctly. So with systems, automation, delegation, pretty much everything that help entrepreneurs say and the business itself save time, maximize their resources, and automate or delegate to human if it's not automatable, if it's even a word, with technology. So let's get right into it. I will lower my face because this is not as important as what I'm going to show you. So, to first, what I like to do, we want to have a domain name that is a burner domain name or a temporary domain name. So, what I like to do is I like to have that in place so you are protecting your main domain name. So that way, by not using your main domain name, so let's say that your business is domainname.com, the domain name of your business is domainname.com, sorry. You want to protect that. You don't want to use that to send cold email, because what happens is if your email get marked as spam, well, it will affect the delivery of your emails that you are going to send to clients. So what will happen is you will have legitimate emails that you send to clients or prospects that will land in their spam folders. So that's one thing that you don't want to do. And you want to have another domain name that you use just for sending cold emails. So I call it a temporary domain name or a burner domain name, however you want to call it. You can call it like, if it pleases you to call it hot potato domain name, you can call it that way. But whatever. So first, what I like to do I like to use Dynadot, but you can use any other domain name provider that you like. And I go in the full list, and you look for domain names that are quote unquote cheap or at a really low cost, because as I said, it's a temporary domain name, so you don't want to be spending hundreds of dollars. I mean, or at least a high amount of value in terms of a domain name, and have to just throw it away after a year. So what I like to do, I would do Control F. I would do dollar, because if you look here, it's C dollar 3 dot, because it's Canadian dollars. If it's just US, you can just search by dollar 3 dot. And what I like to do is I like to search for dollar 1 dot. Oops, dot dot, and then it will give me only one result. So there is dot buzz. So at this price, I would get one domain name, dot buzz. What's really important? Now that it's only, I don't want to have a domain name dot buzz. So I will look for dollar 2 dot. But the one thing that you have to remember, as I was mentioning, is that you will keep that domain name for only 1 year. So you will only want to look at the register name, register cost, not the renew, not the transfer, just the register, because the domain name will be set to, you will turn off the auto renew. So that way you will keep that domain, you will have that domain name active for only 1 year. And then after another year, you can buy another domain name and then switch it. So, once you look for the prices, you can look at multiple. You have for $2, for $2 you have dot xyz, dot online, dot shop. You have plenty. One that I like to use is dot one, which should be not so far. There we go. Whoops. There we go. We just passed it. Here, doesn't mean that it will always be at that price. You just want to pick one that works for you, and sometimes you'll have there will be discounts, and you can pick one at that time that is a good one for you, and you can change it. So that's good. That's it. I go with the dot one. So I would do like business name, domain name, dot one, let's say, and then I would add it to the cart. And then one thing you want to make sure is you have the domain privacy. Why it's important is because you don't want to have your data, or like your name, your phone number, your email, visible to people, because otherwise people will start spamming you, and they will pretty much be sending you emails and whatever they're going to send you. You just don't want that, so you want to make sure that you have them in privacy. Now, once you have bought your domain name by checking out, once it's done, you want to go in your DNS. So let's say you bought a domain name mayfairvillage.one. You want to go in your DNS. You want to make sure that you set up a forwarding for the domain name. So what happens is, if you go to this domain name, it redirects directly to .io. You probably saw it a little bit if you go back. And then you want to go to Mailgun and you want to add a domain name. To add a domain name, you want to go to Overview, in Sending, and then add a new domain. Once you add your domain with the region, so you have US and EU, you decide what you want to do. You add your domain name here. Let's say this one, and then you decide EU, add domain, and then it will bring you to the domain settings. It will bring you to the DNS records here. It will show you, after you've added the domain name, it will show you this sort of window. And then you want to set up the SPF and then the MX for the main domain, because you can see before, like, these are the domain name, this is the domain name, and this is a subdomain. So you want to make sure that for your main domain name, often in, like, for example, in Cloudflare, you would have to use the @ to put it before instead of a subdomain name. So for example, in Dynada, the way it works is you have you have domain records and subdomain records. And then in the domain records, you will add the SPF details and you will add the MX details here. Those are visible here and here. And then for the subdomain records, you want to add the details, the DKIM, and you want to add the tracking records. So you add these two here. So the DKIM is always a subdomain. Often it's always, or most of the time, underscore domain key, and sometimes there's something before, like here, and you have the txt, and then you have the key, and then you have the CNAME that you use for the tracking details, the tracking records. Once this is done, you make sure that you save that, and then you click on Verify DNS Settings. Once it will be verified, you'll see the little icon here, or label here, verified, active, verified. That's perfect. And you make sure that you'll see here, you'll see it for sending. You'll see it right before here. Domain is verified. You're good to go. That's the first thing. That's the first part that you have to do. You have to have a domain name. You have to have your domain name set up with the DNS. And then that DNS should be configured for Mailgun. Once this is configured on Mailgun, there's another part that you want to do. You want to do another thing in Mailgun. What I like to do, if you work with clients, you want to use maybe a temporary email. You want to use a temporary email that you create in Gmail. So it's simple. You go to like Gmail and you create an account, and then for like worker business, and then you write a name, you write the last name, and you write a domain, like a username. You know, if you don't know how to create a Google account, I recommend you to Google it, or to go look for a YouTube video how to create a Google account. Because it's really simple. You might have even already created another in the past another Google account, so you know how to create a Google account. I'm pretty sure. You are a skilled and capable individual, so I'm sure you can do that. So that means that once you have created your account, you want to go in forwarding. You go into, let me do it again. One sec. the cog gear here, quick settings, see all settings, forwarding, and then you want to add a forwarding address. You add a forwarding address, then it would ask you to it will ask you if I let me see if I yeah. Once you do that, you do proceed. It will send an email. You'll have a field here to verify, or you'll receive an email to the email you just added to verify the email. Once it is verified, what you want to do, you want to switch from disable forwarding to forward a copy to incoming email to your email that you just added, and then you want to mark the emails are coming in as mark Gmail's copy as read. So that way, once you go to your account here, you have all of the emails read, but then they're all forwarded to your real email here. I like to do that because it allows you to separate your, especially for clients. Some clients don't want to give you emails, access to their emails. So what do? You just create a temporary Gmail account for them. And I like to use some sort of, name structures. So that way you have like the name of the client, the business, and then even if the .com would fit, I would do it, and then at gmail.com. So that is important to do for clients that don't want to give you access. But you could just decide to have all of the emails, for not forwarded, but all of the emails replied sent to your email directly. And the reason why it more or less matter is right here. I'll show you. So you go to receiving, and then once you have done that, you go to create route, you go to match recipient, you enter the recipient that you want to create for yourself. So that's a burner email. So that's your domain name, your temporary domain name, and that's your name. So let's say that your real domain name would be your name at businessname.com, and you bought the domain name businessname.one. Well, the only thing you have to do is do that. Change the ending of the domain name, the TLD. So that way it looks kind of invisible. Your name is here, your business name is here. The only thing that changes this part here, the last part of the domain name, the TLD. So with that, you are able to then forward all of the emails that goes to this email to your real one. So if it was .com, and that's it. And then you create a route right here, and then that's it. So you can see that I've been doing that for all of the emails I've created here, match, forward. And as you can see, the forward, instead of going directly to the real email of the client, it was going to the Gmail account. So that way, we could have access to the account of the messages received or received from the cold email ourselves in the Gmail account, that we had created. And the client was receiving them because if you remember, in the Gmail account, we were forwarding the emails. And you can see here the notification that you have for the first 7 days after you've activated the forwarding option in Gmail. So you can see that all of the emails are being forwarded to the email of the client. Once this is done, you go into Woodpecker. In Woodpecker, what you want to do, you want to settings, then you want to add a new email, and then that's where you want to make sure that you do manual connection. You don't want to use Gmail, because if you use Gmail, that would mean that you would use your, let's say, Google Workspace or Gmail, Google Workspace email as the sender and the receiver. But as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, you want to make sure that you use a different email to send your cold email, so that way you are not using your real domain name, you are using the burner or temporary domain name. So yeah, manual connection. And then what you do, the sender, you want to use Mailgun. That's why we configured Mailgun, right? So you want to use Mailgun, then email. You would enter your email. So you would use, for example, this one. And then you would add the API of the domain. The API is visible if you go domain settings, sending key APIs. You'll have it here that appears. So you add a sending key, you add the description. For me, I've added the Woodpecker, and then you added the API key here. The domain name here is the one you have added in Mailgun. Is the one that you can see. Oops. In sending is the one that is here. So you could just copy that and put it there, and then you added the API key here. Once this is done, the other part is for you to receive. So you want to receive in your real Gmail, or if in the temporary Gmail that we created, you just click on Google or whatever else. If you use Exchange for, let's say, Outlook, or if you use like any other one, you just Google and you click on connect. It will open, and then you'll pick the one from the client that you just created. And once it's done, you click on continue, and that will bring you to, if I'm not wrong, it will load, and then it will bring you to the signature, and then you click send, and that's all. So that is really the gist of, let me just put myself back again. So that's really the gist of how you create an infrastructure, a safe infrastructure to send cold emails without affecting your domain name. So again, the structure has more or less 4 steps. The first one is to get a domain name. The second one is to configure the DNS of your domain name with Mailgun. And don't forget to, oh, there's a step that I forgot. Let me go back to it. So yeah, so once you send domain name, you want to, not sure if I can show it here, but one thing I like to do, let me look it out for you, check it out for you. Actually, you don't really need it, what I was about to show you, because of the way that we configured it. If you remember, we have a receiving that matches, so it will be forwarded. But one thing you could be doing, if you would like to, is add the sender. For example, there's a platform. Let me show you an example. So there's one platform I like to use. It's called Snov.io, and if you go in accounts, you'll see that email accounts. You'll see that, for example, one thing you could do is, once you have configured your SMTP with Mailgun, you could decide to set the reply to address to your real domain name, instead of it being the temporary or burner domain name that you use here. So that's one way that you could use your real domain name. That's the only place where you want to use your real domain name. If you do go that route, is only when you apply the reply to address. So when people will reply to the message, what will happen is, let me put myself again big. So once the person will reply to the message, instead of being the businessname.1, you will have businessname.com as the address that the email will be sent to. So again, I was about to recap. So yeah, you buy the domain name, you set up the DNS with Mailgun, and you set up the receiving for receiving or forwarding settings with Mailgun to send it to your real domain name, and then you add in Woodpecker, you add the SMTP details of Mailgun and the IMAP receiving details of your Google of your account. So that's pretty much it. If you do have questions, let me know. I would be more than happy to either make another video to explain some part more in details or in depth. And yeah, let me know what you think. and I'm more than happy to answer all of your questions. Leave a comment below, subscribe if you like videos like that. I will try to do more videos on other subject, but if you have ideas of things you'd like me to go through, let me know and I'll do a video on that. And we talk soon. Take care. Bye bye.